From the Leader of the Australian Greens.
Thanks, Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. The first job of government is to keep people safe, and today's climate statement reinforces the enormous threat of the climate crisis to Australia's national security. So why is Labor backing the massive Beetaloo, Barossa, Scarborough, Browse and Narrabri gas projects that will fast-track climate collapse? With today's figures showing emissions rising this year under Labor, why is Labor opening new coal and gas projects and making Australia's people less safe?
We call to the Minister for Energy and Climate Change.
Well, thanks very much, Mr Speaker, and I thank the honourable member for his question. And of course, today the government did release the annual climate change statement, which is a requirement under the Climate Change Act passed by this government and this parliament. And of course, I released the latest projections, which show we are now on track to achieve a 42% emissions reduction by 2030, up from 40% last year, and getting close to our 43% target. But with more to do. With 72 months between now and 2030, it is a big lift, Mr Speaker. But we are pleased with the progress we've made so far. We're pleased with the fact that projections are now on track to come down by 43%. Now, the honourable member asked about the need for new gas and other approvals. I'll make this point, Mr Speaker. We also released the Climate Change Authority advice today. One of the recommendations of the Climate Change Authority advice was to ensure adequate gas supply to gas-fired power stations as part of this transmission, a recommendation we accept and are implementing, Mr Speaker. That's why we brought down the gas code to ensure that new gas is enabled for domestic supply, not international exports. This is the code the Greens sought to disallow. Now, Mr Speaker, the Greens' gas campaign died the day they moved to disallow that gas code. It actually died that moment because their credibility went down the gurgler at that point. We know that because they moved the code. The no position didn't know what to do. They didn't turn up. They moved the disallowance. Who turned up to vote for them? Senator Canavan, One Nation Party and Senator Babbitt, the coalition of craziness. I mean, this is the degree of sophistication the Greens political party has brought to this debate. Yes, we need to ensure an adequate supply of gas to the gas-fired power stations to underpin this most important economic transformation. The honourable member talks about coal. We continue to need metallurgical coal in particular, Mr Speaker. In particular, I've got to say we need more steel for this transition than ever before. Transmission towers can't be built by paper mache. It just can't be done. We need more steel across the world, and including Australia, and that requires coking coal while we're waiting for green steel to come on. All this is part of the important economic transformation. We will continue to manage getting emissions down and jobs up. Slogans do not get emissions down. They do not get jobs up. Paddling around Newcastle Harbour does not get emissions down and does not get jobs up. Good policy gets emissions down and jobs up, and that's what the Albanese government will continue to deliver.